Okay, so hello to our friends at home. Because our map test is tomorrow, we're doing a review lesson today. We're taking a pause from the binders. Somebody wanted me to go over long division because not every problem will we have access to a calculator. So let's just do a quick refresher on long division. Yes.
Long division, I don't know how to divide with decimals. Yeah, me too. For long division.
Okay, so as long as we're doing long division, let's throw in some decimals for that long division. So if we have 40.1 divided by 0.7. Okay? So we set it up like this, 0.7 divided into 40.1. So the first thing we want to do is we want to take care of the decimal point that's outside of our dividend. So we can, if we move this decimal point this way, we're going to move this decimal point this way. No.
I thought you just took the decimal off.
Not, you can't just take a decimal off this.
And then you add it back in though.
Ah.
What the?
Oh my.
What the?
Good. That's not necessary. Just keep it calm, okay? I'm having technology issues. We know that. So it's how many times does 0.7 go into 40? No, I was right. You move it over this way and you move it over this way. Okay, so our decimal is going to be here. So now it's how many times does 7 go into 401? So we're going to start doing our math. Can 7 go into 40? No. How many times can 7 go into 4? Was it no? How many times can 7 go into 40? 5 times. 5 times 7, 35. So 40 minus 35 is 5. So then we're going to bring our 1 down. How many times does 7 go into 51? 7 times. 7 times 7 is 49. Oh my. 51 minus 49 is 2. We don't want to say remainder 2. We want to work with our decimals. So we have our decimal point is right here. We're going to put a 0 on there. Because all of those decimals, when there's not a number going on, is going to be zeros. So then we're going to bring our 0 down. How many times does 7 go into 20? 2 times. Put another 0 on. How many times 7 go into 60?
Put the decimal up.
Oh, I didn't forget. So, shh. You need to decide how far you want to keep on going. You might you might get to the ending point and it can't go in anymore. You might say the directions might say round to the nearest tenth or round to the nearest hundredth. So then you're looking at it, you go, oh, I need to know where the tenth and the hundredth and the thousandth place are. So what I do with that decimal point is it goes straight up. So the decimal point will go straight up from where it is. So then you can say, oh, it said to round to the hundredth place. I know this is my tenths after the decimal because there's no ones. So we start with our tenths. Then we have hundredths. I can't just stop here because I have to round. And you always have to go one extra place when you round. So I'm going to go out to my thousandths place. 7 goes into 40 5 times. So now I can round to my hundredths. So I'm going to be at my hundredths. I'm going to look at the thousands and say it's a 5. That means I round up. So my answer is going to be 57.29. Does that help us with our decimals? Does that help with the long division review?
Yeah, I knew most of it.
Yep, so that's why we review, because we want to make sure we're remembering it correctly. We haven't used it in so long, we want to remember correctly. Edward.
What happens if the one you divided by goes into the hundredths, and the one that I know it's saved. Are you thinking like?
I think I know what you're saying. Let me erase this. Oh my heart. Such problems with technology right now. All right, so if this one is like that, and we're dividing into, let's say, 10.1, like that. Yeah, so we'll use that. So tell it to me again. 2.1 divided by 4.01. So this is the number that we put under.
41.01.
I'm sorry, what was it?
41.01.
41.01, like that. So it's 2.1 divided by 41.01. So you put that on the outside. Oops. We have 2 decimal places here, right? So we want to move this over 2 decimal places. So we now have 4101 divided into 210. 4,101 going into 2010. What am I going to do so I can do this math? Oh, who knows what I have to do? Edward? You're going to put your decimal in and you're going to put zeros on. Bring that decimal point up. So now I can look and see how can 4,101 go into 210. Nope. So I'm going to put a 0 there. 2010. Nope. I'm already into my hundredths place. So 4,101. How many times can that go into 21,000? How many times can 4,101 go into 21,000? I think it's 5.
It's 5.
5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 0, 5 times 1, 5 times 4. So you just keep moving that decimal over until you can do the math. Or adding zeros on. That makes sense, Edward? Good. Maddie.
I forgot.
Mean, median, and mode?
Yeah, but I know what mean is, but I don't know what median, mode, like data or whatever it's for.
Okay, if these are our data points, we want to find mean, median, mode, and range. What is my first step? Chase. Put them in order. So, at your spots, see if you can find mean, median, mode, and range. So right now, at your spots, these are our data points. First thing you do is you put them in order.
No, that's
Go quick. Paul, do the work.
Oh, for everything?
Yeah, let everybody else see if they remember how to do it. We will have mean, median, mode, and range questions on the test.
we round it to?
Rounded to the hundredths place.
Alright, I have the answers.
You found all of them? Mean, median, mode, and range? So, first step was you had to put them in order. Then to find the mean, we have to add them all up.
Divided by the number of
And what did you get when you added them all up?
41.
And what do we divide by?
7.
Because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers, we divide by 7. And we get a very big number.
We get
And I said round to the hundredths place. In our math test review, there are some people who forgot your decimal point values. So you need to remember, after the decimal point comes the tenths place, then the hundredths place, then the thousandths place. So you need to know that. So if we're rounding to the hundredths, am I going to round that 5 up to the 6, or am I going to keep it at a 5? Why am I going to round it up to a 6, Paul?
Oh, well, because the 5 are higher than this score.
If I look at my thousandths place, that 7 is 5 or higher, so that means I have to round it up. So my mean, I'm not sure why there's talking happening. My mean is 5.86, 5 and 86 hundredths. How do I find my median? What does median mean, Maddie?
Does it mean now?
It does mean the middle. So what is the middle of this set of numbers, Maddie?
5.
The 5 is right in the middle, so this was an easy one. I know that it's 5. What if I put another number on?
Oh.
Now all of a sudden my middle isn't so easy because I have 2 numbers in the middle. Do I put 5 and 7 for my median?
6.
What do I do, Molly?
You add up 5 and 7 and divide it by 2.
I'm going to find the mean of 5 and 7. And since I'm finding the mean of 2 numbers, I divide it by 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So when you have an even number, you find the mean of the 2 middle numbers. Sometimes it's easy like 5 and 7, and we just look at it and know that 6 is right in the middle of 5 and 7. So we know it's going to be a 6. It's not always that easy. Mode. What does mode mean, Maddie?
The most?
Mode means most. What number do I see the most of? 3. Shh. And then the range. How do I do the range, Maddie?
That's what I don't know.
How do I do the range, Andrea?
Okay, the range is the number with the largest value subtracted by the number with the lowest value.
You take your biggest number, you subtract out your lowest number, and that is your range.
I was getting it.
Andrea.
With decimals.
Yep.
So, like,
Just a second, I'm answering Andrea's question.
if I rounded that into 5, and then it was 8.
4.3746. Okay, sit down. Eyes up. Okay, here is our question put to us. Here is our number. We want to round to the hundredths place. Do we round each place value up to the hundredths? No. We go just to that hundredths place. We look at the number directly behind it. So we don't care that there's a 6 back here. That means you round up. We're looking at the thousandths place and only the thousandths place. So you look at the thousands, it's below 5. So we know we're going to round it by staying to the 7. Okay, it's a good question. Chase.
How do you find like the area of like a pyramid or like 3, like things that aren't a square that are 3? Yeah.
Okay, so here's our question. How do we find the volume? So when you're doing 3-dimensional shapes, we find the volume of them. So first we start with our square, and let's go to our rectangular prism. Okay, we know how to find a square. It's length times width. So length times width is our square. Then to find the volume, we're going to add on the height. So if we have the pyramid, that's going to be, I just want to make sure I'm telling you correctly. So volume of a pyramid. So we know a pyramid has those triangles, and it's got the square. Okay, so there's our pyramid. So we have that pyramid is being taken out of a rectangular prism. So we still have length times width times height because it's coming out of that rectangular prism, but we have triangles that we're taking out of it. So what do you think we want to divide it by? It's a triangle. So we're going to divide it by 3 because we're taking the triangles out. Does that make sense? So let's say we want to find the volume of cylinder. So a cylinder we know has a circle. So first, what's the area of a circle? Who remembers the area of a circle? Chase?
Pi r squared divided by
Just pi r squared. Pi r squared is how we find the area of our circle. This geometry will be on your test tomorrow. Just saying. So a cylinder, what do you think we're going to add to that pi r squared? Because we've got those circles. Think about what we did when we were finding the rectangular prism. What did we multiply it by also? Times the height. Okay, so now let's say we have a cone. Look at that. We've got that circle on the bottom. So we know it's coming out of a cylinder. What am I going to do to find the cone? If I'm taking the cone out of a cylinder, Nathan.
Isn't it like pi r squared times the slant?
Times what?
The slant?
No, that was when we did the net. That's when we did the surface area. Surface area is different than volume.
Are we going to have surface area on the test?
You might.
Okay.
They can test you on anything. So if we're taking a section out of the cylinder, we have our cylinder divided by 3.
Jeez. Wait, so say the height with the height.
What was that, Nathan? No, a cylinder comes out, or a cone comes out of a cylinder. We're dividing it by 3. So we're not doing triangles, like just 2 triangles. It's a section being taken out. So we divide it by the 3. Caitlin.
How would you find the volume of a sphere?
All right. So the volume of a sphere. We know our circle is pi r squared. So that is going to be the base of it. And then they tack on. So So our sphere, we've got our pi and we've got the r, but because we're doing volume instead of squaring it, we're going to cube it because it's volume, it's rounded, and then times it by 4/3. And I can't tell you exactly, it was easy to go from a square to a rectangular prism and then take out the pyramid. Those were easy to explain how it all works out. That 4/3, I can't tell you off the top of my head.
So you would divide it by 0.75.
If that's what 4 divided by 3 is. But I don't think that is. Because 4 divided by 3 would have a 1 in it. Right? 1 point something.
1.33.
But if they give you a calculator, do you want to try to do it in your head or do you want to use the calculator on the computer? Use the calculator on the computer. We can't use our own calculators on the test. Okay. So, pi r cubed. So, refresh my memory, how do I do r cubed? If r equals 5, how do I do r cubed? How do I do exponents? Let's quick review on exponents. Izzy. 5 times 5 times 5. Because we have a 3 here, we need to multiply it 3 times. So I would do 5 times 5 is 25. Times 5 more gives me 125. Oh.
Alright, so can we just so I can use this to go over like all the formulas for them, so like a triangle or like the formulas for triangle.
So area of the rectangle or area of a square rectangle is length times width.
Can you also go surface area?
Triangle is 1/2 base times height, right?
Yeah.
Circle was pi r squared,
Wait.
right? What?
But so for the triangle, like the 1/2 is like. Oh, okay. Alright.
So if your base is an 8 and your height is a 4 and you want to do 1/2, you could do 4 times 4. You can take a half of the 8, or you could take a half of 8 times 4 is 32 and take a half of that.
By 2.
Yeah.
What is this about?
So these are my areas. Now perimeter. Perimeter of the square, you add all the sides. Perimeter of a circle is called the circumference. That's what circumference means. It means going around the outside. To find the circumference of a circle, a perimeter of a triangle is just adding up the outsides. So the circumference of a circle is 2 pi r. So then we wanted to know volume. Volume of the our rectangular prism was length times width times height. What? Sweetie, let me go through one thing at a time. You gotta quit shouting out stuff as I'm going through one thing. Give Paul his turn to get his review. So then if we wanted to do the, what did we do? The triangular prism?
Yeah.
That was length times width times height divided by 3. Then we had cylinder. And that was pi r squared divided by 3, right? No, sorry. Yeah, I was throwing in the cone one. I was getting myself confused.
It was
There's a lot of talking and it is really throwing me off. Please stop. I'm doing this review for everyone because you're all going to be getting geometry questions. So you need to be following. The cylinder was pi r squared times the height. So our cone was pi r squared times the height divided by 3.
Wait, what? Divided by 3. And then one more thing.
Hold on. We still have the sphere.
Oh,
The sphere that one was 4/3 of the pi r cubed. Now I did have somebody asking about that surface area because we did have that on one of our math packets. So which surface area did you want? Which one did we do in the math? You guys can Google this just as easy as I can. So we did the surface area of a cone.
Yeah.
On your math packet, you did the surface area of the cone.
Oh, that was is.
You still have it
That
up?
was the. Oh, Miss Gambino.
Yes.
That was the one where it was the circle and then you times it by the slant.
Yep. So we had the pi. So surface area of the cone was what?
It was the surface area.
So pi r s. Okay. So we had the circle pi r squared, and we added to it that laid out cone. Remember when we made that net and we laid out the cone, and that was pi r times the slant. So that s was the slant. And again, if you want to know more of the, because look at the time, we are just flying through. You can look up these formulas at home tonight. If you say, oh, I want to know how to find the surface area of this or the surface area of that, look it up online. Andrea. Oh, there's tons of stuff. I can't go over everything. I just want to do review of stuff. Paul.
One more thing.
Yes.
Our COD stuff. Like finding missing sides.
Paul, tell me your question.
On con we're doing we're finding missing sides and stuff.
So what we discovered when I was helping somebody on Friday was those missing sides. They're giving you, like, let's say they say this was 4/3 and then this right here was a half. So they already gave you the length times the width, and you need to multiply it by that. So they gave you 2 being multiplied already, and you just need to multiply by the third side. So I would have to show it to you on what Khan Academy looks like. I would have to show that. All right, so we're going to say goodbye to our friends at home. Happy studying.